So this is me just thinking about the state of the world, whatever today is, 18th, 19th of March 2020. Getting late in the afternoon on this beautiful spot down in Cuckmere Meander, and I'm kind of practicing my video making because I've got a lot of things to say really, that in this mad world of ours that seems to be getting madder by the minute. And one of them is regarding my experience of sort of 24 years of working in outplacement and organisational development and talent management, and latterly executive coaching, all starting out in the mid-1990s with a complete reinvention as a career guidance practitioner, which is the best thing I ever did. Anyway, 24 years or 23 years of insight into large organisations that do lots of downsizing when the economy hits a hard stop. So we had the Brent crude collapse from sort of $150 to $45 in the late 1990s, and we had the dot-com meltdown in the early noughties. We've had semiconductor crashes in the early 1990s, where the British high-tech industry was hit very hard. But in the last 25, 30, perhaps 40 years tops, we've introduced this American idea that organisations rescue themselves on the balance sheet by shedding payroll. Believe me, I've had a lot of experience. I've worked in organisations like Nortel Networks that went from something in the region of 140,000 people globally to under 45,000 people in 18 months, and then effectively ceased to exist in the early 2000s. Organisations, massive tech companies like Sun Microsystems, similarly they promised they were going to do a reduction in force. What's the car, Dylan? They were going to do a reduction in force once, a RIF as they're called. It's code for downsizing and large-scale redundancies. And that ended up, they did something like 15 different reverses in reductions in force, and then were so vulnerable, incapable of delivering on their business plan and their business objectives. And they were so vulnerable they were basically taken over or acquired by Oracle. So here we are in coronavirus land, COVID-19, and 2 days ago, Tuesday, just on with Boris Johnson making the announcements with Rishi Sunak that there were these enormous rescue packages available for companies totaling 330 billion. An incredible, almost eye-watering amount of money is there to bail these organisations out. Yet we've got some pretty large employers who are already shedding people far too prematurely, as is now proven. The bottom line is, all these organisations, these corporates, they talk about corporate social responsibility. And I've got to say, what a definition of something which is not social responsibility. You jettison your personnel onto the dole queue right at the beginning of a global pandemic, which stands to see people suffer in other ways than economic, where there's far greater priorities really, which I can think of as being a person's life and the potential for losing many of our loved ones. So right now, at the beginning of my sort of blogging activity on this particular subject, I'm going to want to throw a gauntlet down to some of these people. There are other alternatives other than making people redundant in their absolute starkest hour of need. You know, thinking about bit more cooperation, giving personnel, your employees, the opportunity to maybe take a hit on their pay, take less pay, postpone bonuses, maybe relinquish their opportunities for commissions, etc., etc. The list goes on and on, so that the organisation might be able to maintain some cohesion, team spirit, mucking in together, proving that this horrendous pandemic is not going to beat us so early into the campaign. Thank you very much if you've got this far.